World War II is often remembered as a war of machines at distance, bombers darkening the sky, artillery reshaping landscapes, rifle fire echoing across fields and ruins. But that is only half the truth. Because when battle lines broke down, inside bunkers, stairwells, foxholes, cockpits, tank turrets, jungle paths, and ruined cities, war shrank to a few feet. And at that distance, a soldier's survival depended on one thing: what he carried on his belt. The handgun was never meant to win wars. It was meant to save lives when everything else failed. Yet today, many modern videos distort this history, showing artificial weapons that never existed, blending designs across decades, inventing suppressors, or misunderstanding how these pistols actually worked. This is not speculation. This is not reenactment fantasy. What follows is a grounded, mechanical, historically accurate examination of the sidearms that actually fought World War II, why they were issued, how they functioned, where they succeeded, and where they failed catastrophically. This is the war at arm's length. Colt M1911 A1, the weight of authority. By 1941, the Colt 1911 was already legendary. But the M1911 A1 refinement transformed it from a proven design into a perfected one. The changes were subtle but intentional: an arched mainspring housing to correct point of aim, a shorter trigger to improve control under stress, and grip refinements for gloved hands. Chambered in .45 ACP, the pistol delivered a slow, heavy projectile designed to stop an attacker immediately. It was not about penetration or velocity. It was about certainty. Nearly 2 million were produced during the war. Not because it was elegant, but because it worked. Reliably, brutally, and without apology. When American soldiers drew a sidearm, this was the sound that followed. M1917 revolvers. Reliability over modernity. When mobilization outpaced manufacturing, the United States turned backward to move forward. Large frame revolvers from Colt and Smith & Wesson were adapted to fire .45 ACP using half-moon clips, a simple metal solution to a complex logistical problem. These revolvers were heavy, mechanically simple, and extremely tolerant of dirt, mud, and neglect. Reloading was slower than with semi-automatics, but failure was rare. They were not cutting edge. They were dependable. And in wartime, dependability keeps soldiers alive. Colt M1903, the sidearm of command. The Colt M1903 was never intended for trench fighting. Its appeal lay in discretion. Thin, smooth, and snag-free, it concealed easily beneath uniforms and jackets. The internal hammer gave it its misleading nickname, but also its clean draw. This was a pistol carried by generals, intelligence officers, and commanders who needed a weapon that did not announce itself. Eisenhower trusted it. Patton admired it. It represented authority carried quietly. High standard HDM, silence engineered. Silence was not an accessory. It was the mission. The high standard was designed from inception as a suppressed weapon. Its suppressor was not attached. It was integrated directly into the barrel, allowing gas expansion and sound reduction without mechanical compromise. Chambered in .22 LR, it sacrificed power for absolute discretion. Used by OSS operatives, it eliminated sentries, guard dogs, and isolated targets without alerting surrounding forces. It did not intimidate, it erased. Few weapons of the war operated so far in the shadows. FP-45 Liberator, Weaponized Desperation. The FP-45 Liberator was never meant to survive combat. Constructed from stamped sheet metal, smooth bore, and single shot, it was intentionally crude. Reloading was slow. Accuracy was minimal. Durability was irrelevant. Its purpose was psychological. Dropped to resistance fighters, it provided a single chance to kill an occupying soldier, seize his weapon, and discard the Liberator. The pistol itself was expendable. The idea behind it was not. Luger P08. Precision without mercy for dirt. The Luger was the product of pre-war engineering priorities, precision machining, tight tolerances, mechanical elegance. Its toggle lock action produced accuracy and a distinctive recoil impulse, but it was unforgiving. Dirt, mud, or poor ammunition could stop it cold. In a total war environment, that was unacceptable. Yet, its appearance and association with German forces turned it into the most coveted war trophy of the European theater. A masterpiece that could not scale. Walther P38, the birth of the modern combat pistol. The Walther P38 marked a doctrinal shift. It introduced a double-action, single-action trigger system, allowing soldiers to carry the weapon with a round chambered and the hammer lowered, safe, yet immediately ready. This reduced negligent discharges while improving response time. Nearly every modern military handgun descends from this concept. The P38 was not just a replacement for the Luger. It was a blueprint for the future. Walther PP and PPK, authority in compact form. Smaller than frontline pistols, the PP and PPK were favored by police, air crews, and intelligence personnel. Their compact size and double-action operation made them ideal for concealment and control, rather than prolonged firefights. They symbolized rank, responsibility, and restraint. Weapons of power, rather than conquest. Mauser C96, a survivor from another era. By the outbreak of World War II, the Mauser C96 should have disappeared, but it didn't. Its powerful cartridge, stripper clip loading system, and wooden stock holster allowed it to persist, particularly among Waffen-SS units and rear echelon troops. It bridged 19th century engineering and 20th century warfare, a relic that refused to leave. Sauer 38H, quiet. Mechanical sophistication, often overlooked, the Sauer 38H incorporated advanced features rarely discussed. An internal hammer reduced snag risk. A decocking lever allowed safe carry without touching the trigger. Double-action operation improved readiness. It was refined engineering hidden behind a modest reputation. Webley Mark IV. British practicality. The Webley's break-top design allowed spent casings to eject simultaneously when the frame was opened, dramatically speeding reloads. It was heavy, limited in capacity, and archaic by appearance, but brutally reliable. British Doctrine valued function over form. The Webley delivered. Enfield No. 2, built for confined warfare. Tank crews fought inside steel boxes. The Enfield No. 2 addressed that reality, often fitted with a spurless hammer to prevent snagging inside cramped turrets. It was not elegant. It was survivable. Welrod, silence without compromise. The Welrod did not resemble a conventional handgun, bolt action, manually loaded, and integrally suppressed. It was engineered for one task: silent elimination at point-blank range. British commandos used it when noise meant mission failure or death. One shot, no sound, no trace. Tokarev to T-33, Soviet doctrine in steel. The Tokarev reflected Soviet priorities: simplicity, power, and mass production. Its high-velocity 7.62mm cartridge penetrated heavy clothing and light cover. The design stripped away unnecessary complexity. It was not refined. It was unstoppable. Nagant M, 1895. breaking the rules of revolvers. The Nagant revolver did something no other service revolver did. When cocked, its cylinder moved forward, sealing the gap between chamber and barrel. This increased velocity and allowed suppressor use, an anomaly in revolver design. Antiquated, but mechanically ingenious. Nambu Type 14. Modern appearance, flawed reality. The Type 14 appeared modern, but suffered from weak striker springs, unreliable magazines, and cold weather failures. Its ergonomics misled users into confidence it did not deserve. Looks did not equal performance. Nambu Type 94, a weapon that could betray you. Few service pistols earned such infamy. The exposed sear bar allowed accidental discharges simply from pressure on the frame. Soldiers feared their own weapon. It remains one of the most dangerous service pistols ever issued. Type 26 Revolver. Obsolescence in uniform. Japan's first modern handgun lingered long past its usefulness. Heavy, outdated, and familiar. It remained in service because replacement was impossible. War does not always allow improvement. Browning He Power. Capacity changes Doctrine. 13 rounds changed expectations. The high power nearly doubled the ammunition capacity of contemporary pistols and proved so effective it was produced by both Allied and Axis forces. 1. Design. 2 enemies. Enduring influence. Radom Vis. 35. Excellence. Recognized by occupiers. The Vis 35 was so well built that German forces continued production after occupying Poland. Few weapons earned that level of respect from the enemy. LATL 35. Designed for frozen survival. Built for Arctic warfare, the Lati was sealed against ice and debris. Heavy, overbuilt, and precise, it functioned where others failed. Survival drove every design choice. Beretta 1934. Craftsmanship over power. The Beretta lacked stopping power, but it delivered reliability and smooth operation. Well-made and dependable, it became a favorite souvenir among Allied troops. These pistols were not legends when they were issued. They were tools, sometimes brilliant, sometimes deeply flawed. They reveal how nations fought when battles collapsed into arm's length, where mechanics mattered more than reputation. This is the truth behind World War II sidearms. If there is a rare or overlooked handgun you believe deserves recognition, tell us in the comments. History is not shorter than we remember. It is deeper.